For our creative reform project, we're going to teach you guys how to make a sandwich from scratch.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Welcome to the Heaven's Kitchen, a kitchen sent from heaven itself, and I'm here with my sous chef, Derek.
Thanks for having me here, you head chef Eugene.
Today we will be making our famous holy grill sandwich, but there's a catch. We will be making it from scratch. No grocery projects are allowed.
Now, let's get started. What bread are we making today, head chef Eugene?
I'll demonstrate the best milky loaf recipe for you today.
Tell me more about this so-called milky loaf recipe.
It has golden crust, very soft crumbs, and is creamy. The flavor and texture will amaze you.
So, how do we begin with the bread making process?
First, you will need to get these simple ingredients: yeast, milk, heavy cream, salt, butter, sugar, and flour. Generally, the order of the ingredients are put in are liquids, fats, dry ingredients, sugar, salt, and yeast. In this specific order, you must add 160 grams of milk, 60 grams of heavy cream, 300 grams of bread flour, 3 grams of sugar.
I posted it, Derek, here, but what Eugene meant to say was 30 grams, not 3 grams, just to clarify.
5 grams of salt, 12 grams of milk powder, and 6 grams of yeast.
It, Derek, again, but if you see that little hole that Eugene made, it's an important step of the bread making process. Chef Derek will explain in a little bit.
Using instant yeast. If you want the more unique flavor and texture to your bread that cannot be achieved with other types of yeast, you would want to use fresh yeast. Fresh yeast has a high yeast content and is ideal recipes that require a long time. The two other types of yeast are active dry yeast and sourdough starter. Derek, can you explain why the order you put the ingredients are important?
Well, it is important because when you are making bread, you want to make sure that the sugar, salt, and yeast are separate from each other since they serve different purposes and can have different effects on the bread dough. Salt is an important ingredient in bread making as it adds flavor and helps to control the fermentation process by slowing down the activity of the yeast. Sugar is added to the bread dough to help provide food for the yeast because yeast feeds on sugar. Yeast is a living organism, also known as a fungus, and requires the right environment to thrive in. If you incorrectly use these 3 ingredients, your bread dough ends up not rising or being very sweet. In order to avoid this mistake, follow the order instructed on your recipe. When you are using yeast, make sure it is alive. To check if your yeast is alive, give it some sugar. Wait around 10 minutes and see if bubbles from carbon dioxide form. Then it is safe to assume that your yeast is alive and well. If not, the yeast may be dead.
Let's put the ingredients in the bowl.
Go.
Why is it not latching on?
That's not very aesthetic.
It's fine.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! I need help! My writing is too studious. I need to dumb it down for my little monkey friends.
Don't worry, I got you. Use this as Grammarly. It's an online computer add-on that makes your writing worse. I've been using this every day. My writing skills have become worse than average now. My life has changed so much since I started using this add-on. Come look at how much it changed my quality of my writing.
Look at my writing before I used Grammarly. Now look at it now. Look how much it's changed now. Hey, remember to get Grammarly on the Google Chrome store. It has 5 downloads right now, and we're trying to get it at 5 stars. Right. 2 pounds. Just keep audio on that. Some tips to remember are to measure ingredients exactly and never wing it. Also, when you put the yeast in, make sure to put a hole in the middle of the mixture so it's not in contact with liquids.
Remember, if your bread does not look like this, go back and read your instructions and make sure you have followed them properly and correctly.
It's important to make sure that you are ready for the sandwich. So our first step is to cut up the tomatoes. So these tomatoes are actually very special. So my great grandfather's dog's uncle, he lives in what was it, Turkey? He lives in Turkey, and his family raises tomatoes, and I reached out for the school project, and he was kind enough to give it, so shout out to him. But as you see, head chef Eugene is cutting up the tomatoes in such elegant patterns so that we can have the perfect sandwich. Now that we're done with the tomato cutting, it's time to move on to the other vegetable, the lettuce. Another funny story about the lettuce is actually they got imported from Thailand from a great friend of mine. We met back in like 2018. He was kind enough to donate some for the school project, so shout out to him as well. So to begin the lettuce process of the sandwich, you have to make sure that they are washed. Luckily, my head chef Eugene has made sure that these are all washed. There are many great ways to make a sandwich, but for ours, we're making it with bacon. So, story of this bacon is actually, we didn't have, there's no pigs around here that I can slaughter or anything like that. So, I decided to raise my own pig. I adopted one from a pig facility named it John Pork. Raised it. It's a great pig. Killed it for bacon, obviously. Don't mind the wrapping though. But we're gonna cook this bacon. It's gonna be very good. It looks kind of pink from this angle.
I also forgot to mention, but if you're wondering where we got our fire from, this is where we got it. Luckily, while I was out hunting for grizzly bears, I found a stack of wheat and decided that we needed flour, so I punched it with my bare fist and it magically turned into flour. Begin the sandwich making process by laying out your bread. Make sure to wash your vegetables to make sure they are clean and fresh to eat, and cut your vegetables into even quantities. If you want to add any sauce onto your sandwich, be sure to use a butter knife to spread the sauce evenly. Lay out your bacon or whatever you have for your meat. Next, place your freshly wet lettuce on top of your bacon. Place each tomato on top of your lettuce. Finally, place your other slice of bread on top of your stack, and voila, you have the perfect sandwich. Hopefully.
Hey, thank you for listening to the video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
I put the new 4Gs on the G. I trap into the bloody bottoms is underneath. Cause all my got it out the streets. I keep 100 racks inside my jeans. I remember hitting them all.